It's closing day for the Keeneland Fall Meet. Let's cap the card. Hey, welcome into Trust the Profits, one of the best horse racing channels out there on YouTube right now. Make sure you check out all of our videos. We got a lot of great content coming out with the Breeders' Cup coming up next weekend. Just finished a great night in the cocktail lounge tonight where we turned a $100 bankroll into about $900. We are going to be running the cocktail lounge our normal Thursday next week, and we're going to run a special edition of the cocktail lounge on Friday and Saturday for the main Breeders' Cup races. But right now is closing weekend at Keeneland. Let's jump into the Saturday card and take a look at my top picks and value picks for all of the races on the card. Let's go. We're going to start right out here with the first race. We've got a 6.5 furlong race on the dirt, $62,500 claiming race for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. And in this race, for my top pick, pretty chalky in here, and I am going to go to the 5 All Class. This is a horse in here, got the best speed figures in the last race out of all of these, gets the meets leading rider in Tyler Gaffleone. I think there's quite a bit of a speed in here, and many need the lead kind of horses in here that basically they're either going to win on the front end or fade. This is one that likes to be forwardly placed, but doesn't necessarily need the lead. I like the move to Gaffleone in here for Saffie Joseph Jr. Horse is even money, but you got to take the chalk where it's given and where you need it. So let's see if we can find a value play underneath that one. And for me, that's going to be the number 2 in here, Edostridos. That's what we'll say it is anyway. This is a horse for Donnie Van Hemel that gets Luis Saez up. Horse is coming off a layoff here. Obviously, a long layoff since February, but coming out of the Grade 3 Honeybee at Oaklawn Park. Has some really strong works. 30 September at the Churchill Downs training track, a bullet 47-3, followed that up on the 9th of October. With another bullet work, best of 21 for the day, 47-1. Dropping in class, getting first-time Lasix here. I just think that these are more changes in a horse that I'd like to see when you throw the kitchen sink to where it's like dropping in class, changing in distance, changing in rider, changing in location, adding Lasix. So maybe not a on top play, but I do like the 6-1 line. I think this horse fits here very well. Like getting Saez on board for Fausto Gutierrez here. And we will take the number 2 Edostridos at 6-1 as our value play in race number 1. Race number 2 is going to be on the dirt, 7 furlongs, $30,000 claiming race for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. And in this race, again, for my top pick, I'm going to go towards the inside to the number 2, Out of Nothing at All for James Toner, getting Jose Ortiz up on the ride. This one is 5-2 in the morning line. I don't think there's a lot of speed in here. I think this horse may get pressed a little bit by the 7 on the outside. The 7's probably going to want to show speed in here. But I don't think the 7 can compete as one probably cheap speed going to get on the lead and potentially fade late. The 2 in here, I just think that this one is much better than that one. Does come off a layoff since June, but does have some really good works, is dropping in class. There are a couple in here dropping from the allowance ranks. This one is coming out of some solid allowance races at Churchill, while you look at like the 1, for example, allowance races at Prairie Meadows. I'll take the Churchill allowance dropper here. Has some nice works, a couple of back-to-back bullets, decent. Trainers running about 18% with this type of layoff. So Jose Ortiz has ridden this one in the past for a win here at Keeneland. The horse is 1 for 2 at Keeneland, 1 for 1 at the distance with a win. I like the number 2 here a lot. That's Out of Nothing at All. For my value pick in this race, I'm going to go to the outside, number 9, Princess is Olivia. This is a horse here who basically comes into the Eddie Keneally barn. I think this is a big change here. Eddie Keneally, first off the claim, hits at about 26%, and he's putting Luis Saez aboard. Saez has kind of picked it up on the back half of the Keeneland meet here and is really starting to ride a little bit better. I think this is a good fit for this horse, even though stepping up a little bit off the claim. That's why I think we're going to get the price. But looking at the rest of the horses in here, it just looks like this horse fits. The speed figures fit with horses that are a little bit lower in odds in here. And I'll take the price. I'll take Luis Saez and go into the Keneally barn on the outside for the number 9 at 6-1. That's Princess is Olivia in race 2. For race number 3, we've got a 9 furlong race on the turf, $100,000 maiden special weight for filly 2-year-olds, and always love the 2-year-old baby races. And for this one, I think we've got a pretty chalky favorite here, and we're going to take the chalk on top where they give it to us. If you've been watching the Keeneland meet, it's almost 50% that favorites hit there. So if you're constantly trying to beat the favorite, I get it. I would love to have a price. I would love to have a horse and be able to beat the chalk race in and race out, but I'm going to take it where I can get it, find the value underneath. And that's how we hit a $900 trifecta tonight at Woodbine. So we took top 2 horses and in a trifecta, got a price in third and still hit a $900 with chalk and chalk number 2 underneath. So that's what we're going to do here on top is we're going to take the chalk. Luis Saez getting up for Chad Brown on Mambo Queen here. This is a horse in the last race. Basically, it was the speed in that last race. If you look at the speed figures, in the last race, kind of better than most of this field, and that's why I think this horse is just much the best. Kentucky Downs, you either like it or you don't, and that was a decent race over that. This horse was favored in that race at a mile on the turf there at Kentucky Downs, but lukewarm favorite, almost 4-1. Now we're going a mile and an eighth. This one's stretching out a little bit. I think that she is going to like to stretch out here. So she's already got a race. Chad Brown, we know, can get them ready. Second start hits at about 28%. Again, getting Saez up here. I like the 7 Mambo Queen in this spot. For my value pick, I'm going to go to the number 9, My Gal. This is Jonathan Thomas trained horse, getting Florangeroux up. And this is another one coming out of Kentucky Downs. It should improve second time out. Jonathan Thomas is another trainer. He's hitting at about 24%. The layoff here doesn't worry me. The horse seems to be working okay. It has a consistent pattern of works since that race at Kentucky Downs. Has two works, one at Turfway, one here on the track at Keeneland. This horse is obviously going to be closing late. The turf seems to be playing that way this year at Keeneland. The closers are doing really well. I like the deep closers as much as anybody on the turf. I don't like front end speed on the turf this year at all. You can come from mid-pack, you can come from off, but the deep closers seem to be doing well. And I think we can get a little bit of a price on My Gal, currently sitting at 5-1 in the morning line. I think we might even get a little bit more than that. So we'll take the 7 Mambo Queen as our top pick and the number 9 My Gal as our value pick in race number 3. For race number 4, we've got an 8.5 furlong race on the dirt, $20,000 allowance race for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. And looks like it's going to be a windy day at Keeneland on Saturday. And I'm not sure about the weather forecast, but I'm going to go to the number 6 in here on top with my top pick, Windy Walk. This is a horse sitting at 3-1 in the morning line. We do have the one best performer sitting on the rail that is going to probably be the favorite in here. I don't like the rail in this position. Horses seem to get shuffled back a little bit. This is one that doesn't want the speed and might get shuffled back a little bit. Is going to have to work out a trip. Obviously has the distance to do that, but still, we've seen this happen a couple of times to where horses look really good on the rail, had the favoritism and just couldn't work out the trip and were beaten by lesser horses. The 6 Windy Walk here, the 43% on the connections, Christopher Davis and Luis Saez, when they get together, That's in only a 7-race sample here at Keeneland, but for the year, the two, when they hook up anywhere, they're hitting at about 32%. I like the position here. The number one, this has an 81 Beyer speed figure in the last race. This one matches that. So just as fast in the last race, as far as last race best speed figure. When I look at those, the one though, when you look at that one, was on a sloppy track. And as a lot of us know, those wet track speed figures seem to come back a little faster and a little higher than the dry track. And while the 6 was on a good, I just think that's a little bit of a better speed figure. Again, Davis getting Saez up here. I'll take this one as my top pick at 3-1. And we're going to go double Windy here. We're going to move to the outside, number 11, Windy Bay. Riley Mott Train getting Francisco Arrieta up 9-2 on the morning line. So not too big of a price for a value pick, but I do kind of like this one and think we might float up a little bit based on some of the other horses being to the inside, and those two horses in 1 and 6 maybe taking quite a bit of the money. So maybe we can get a little bit of a bigger price here. This horse does have 4 underneath finishes out of 10 races. So in 40% of the races, this horse is finishing in the money underneath. One of those was an underneath finish in 1 start at Keeneland. I do like Arrieta has ridden the horse before. It gets back aboard, even though the horse has changed barns since he rode it. Horse has some work since the last race, looking pretty good. So we'll take the number 11, Windy Bay, as our value pick here at a lukewarm value. But again, I think we might get a little bit more than that 9-2 morning line. Race number 5, we've got a 9.5 furlong race on the turf, $110,000 allowance race here for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. We've got a pretty lukewarm favorite that I love, and I just think that this horse is really going to be a strong favorite. I'm not sure about this morning line of 4-1. If we get that, I think I'm all over this. I love that price for this horse. I just think Shiloh's Mistress in here should love this cutback. Last race with a mile and 5/16, now going a mile and 3/16 here at Keeneland. Again, getting Saez up for Michael McCarthy. Wasn't purposeful that I picked Luis Saez up on a few of these horses, but it looks like if things go as I see for Saturday, he might have a big day. He's had a couple of days so far on the Keeneland meet. One day in particular, he won 3 races in a row. I've got him on at least like 3 picks here, either up or down in my picks. But I just think that this horse really fits well in here with these. That last time out at Kentucky Downs, that was a decent speed showing up front and then kind of faded late. But again, on the cutback, this horse should improve off of that. And with that speed figure, if this horse improves off of that speed figure, this horse wins this race by a ton. And I really like the horse that much. I think the horse is a strong favorite. For my value pick in this race, I'm going to go right next door to that one, and the number 6, Egyptian Candy. This is a horse for Daniel Litch that's getting Luan Machado up. We all know that Luan has had a great week last week, won a couple of stakes races, is riding really well. When you look at this horse in a 12-1 morning line, I would love to get that price on this horse. And I'm not sure we will, but I think we will get a bit of a price here. This horse is 3rd off a layoff. If you look, again, we're a mile and 3/16 here. Last time out, the horse ran a mile and 3/8. But that was a grade 3. And now the horse is dropping down to an allowance race. If you look at the previous race, when this horse was at that level at Ellis Park, had Machado up, closed up, just getting beat by a half length by Sanctify in that race, finished a nice 3rd. But Luan has ridden this horse in the past to a close 2nd here at Keeneland, and also to a win at Turfway Park. I think this horse is well placed in this race. Give me Luan Machado as my value pick on the number 6, Egyptian Candy, in race number 5. For race number 6, we've got a 6 furlong race on the dirt. The $200,000 Bowman's Mill Stakes for 2-year-olds. Love some baby races in the fall. In this race, I like the number 5 here, politically correct, for Christopher Davis, getting Jose Ortiz up. Morning line is 9-2 on this one. I hope we get that one at that price. Obviously, just inside that one, I think Macho Music is going to take enough money with Luis Saez up. And again, there's that name Saez and the day he could have on Saturday. But I really like this horse a lot more coming out of the Iroquois Stakes at Churchill Downs. I was there on track that day for the Iroquois. Jonathan's Way is an incredible horse. Owen Almighty, we've heard a lot about. But I just think that this race, when these horses all start to come back, is really going to come back as a key race. We all know Authentic Strike, who just finished 9th in that race, a couple of positions in front of Politically Correct here, came back to a really strong win here at Keeneland. And I think that Politically Correct in here could do something similar. Jose Ortiz getting back on. And if you look at this horse, Jose rode this horse to a couple of wins early in his career. Won his maiden first time out, and then won the Bashford Manor Stakes at Churchill right after that. In the juvenile, just after that, a close second, just losing to Owen Almighty. Before that, Iroquois. I don't know how we get 9-2 on this horse, but if we do, I'm all over it. I love this horse on top, Politically Correct at 9-2, the number 5. For my value pick, again, I'm going to go right next door to the number 6, Long Neck Paula. This is a horse for Wesley Ward, gets Johnny Velasquez. Excuse the typo there. This horse is 8-1 in the morning line. Wesley Ward horse at 8-1 at Keeneland in the fall in a baby race. I'll take some of that. I'll take all of that. Now she is taking on boys for the first time. She's been racing strictly against fillies, but she's kind of moved forward in her races. And that last time out, that win in the Prairie Meadows debutante, that's a solid win, decent speed figures, and puts her right in there with most of the speed figures for the boys in this race. So I think she fits here. I like Johnny Velasquez getting up on her for the ride for Wesley Ward. We all know Ward gets his 2-year-olds ready. This one's been off August, has been working at Keeneland, has some good solid works. A couple of strong 1 minute and 2s, followed by a nice maintenance, 1 minute and 2 after that. But I think that this is one that we could potentially get a little bit of a price on underneath. I'm not sure she wins in this spot, but with Wesley Ward, that wouldn't put I wouldn't put that past her either as a possibility, and that wouldn't surprise me. But I really like these two as an exacted type potential bet. 5 and 6, 6 and 5, but we'll go 5 over 6 as my picks in race 6. For race number 7, this is going to be an 8-furlong race on the turf, $120,000 allowance race, fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. Wesley Ward, here he is again. So this one's going to be a lot more chalky than that last Ward that we like, but we're going to go to the outside, towards the outside. This is the 11 Kehoe Beach, 9-5 in the morning line. 95 speed figure in that last race, that last allowance race. That just towers over this field. Yes, it was Kentucky Downs, but Kentucky Downs shippers do well at Keeneland. They've had a good meet with Kentucky Downs shippers coming in here. This one gets Frankie Dettori up instead of Johnny Velasquez, who rode her to her win there at Kentucky Downs. But if she runs anywhere close to that race, I just think she wires this field. Frankie's had a good meet. He's got 6 wins in 35 races here at Keeneland here in the fall. Has a couple of those gate to wire type wins, and I think he puts her out there and just runs away from this field. For my value pick, I'm going to go towards the inside, and the number 2, Mrs. Astor, for Jonathan Thomas again. This one gets Manny Franco up and is 8-1 in the morning line. When I look at Mrs. Astor here, the thing that stood out to me as I'm looking for an underneath pick. So allowance race, this one's coming out of a grade 3 at Keeneland. There's a little bit of a question in that this horse only ran back on the 20th. This horse ran last week. So and firing right back. I'm not sure that they run this horse. Maybe she scratches out, but if they run this horse right back, it tells me that they know something and are thinking that she's capable of doing that. Something there. They're really dropping back. That was a marathon race, mile and a half on the turf here at Keeneland in the Dowager, the Grade 3 Dowager, which Chop Chop won last weekend, and this is a real step down from that. And that was a solid fourth, only beaten 3 lengths in that race at 52-1. So if she runs anywhere near that on the cutback, speed figure was a nice 84 in that race. And I just think that she fits really strongly in here at 8-1. This is third off the layoff. Several things you can look at here. And 2 for 4 underneath at Keeneland, 2 second place finishes in 4 races here, 2 underneath finishes out of 4 at the distance. I'm not sure Mrs. Astor is a win candidate. As a matter of fact, I don't think she is at all, but I do think she hits a board in here. And at 8-1, I think she's definitely a value play that I'll have on my tickets. Race number 8 is a 9 furlong race on the dirt, Grade 2 Hagyard Fayette Stakes for a purse of $350,000 for 3-year-olds and up. I know it looks chalky with my top picks, but again, it's Keeneland. You got to take what they give you. And in this one, when you look at it, if it's not Hit Show, who is it? I just don't think that the Fayette Stakes came up very strong this year. I don't see anybody at all in here that competes with Hit Show. I just think that this Brad Cox trained horse for Florent Giroux, we all know, last year was on the Derby Trail and had some really good races as a 3-year-old and finished second in the Wood Memorial, won the Withers, just has some really strong graded stakes races. And I don't see anybody in this field that's even competitive. Yes, there have been some horses that have had some graded stakes places, but nothing to the level of Hit Show in here. And I just think the connections, and this one looks like is working well for this one. That 19 October work, a minute and 3 up at Churchill, 4th of 60 for the day. It just really seems like the horse to beat in here, and I'm not sure anybody does. So let's see if we can find a little bit of value to go underneath for that. We do have a couple of horses that are going to be lower odds in here, but I'm going to take a shot in here with the number 4 War Campaign. Phil Sims, trained horse, gets the Keeneland meet leading rider, Tyler Gaffleone up, second off a layoff here. That was a decent race in that optional claimer back on the 25th of September at Churchill Downs. Since that time, again, has a solid pattern of works here on the track at Keeneland. A bullet 5 furlong work followed up by a really strong 4 furlong work. Horses working well. Second off a layoff, gets Tyler up. I just think that the stretch out here is going to favor this horse as well, going a mile and an eighth instead of the mile and a 16th that he ran the last time. He was closing up strong, just beating a length in that race by Mr. Wireless. And the added 16th is probably going to be to this horse's benefit. I think War Campaign's a solid underneath play in here at 8-1 in race 8. Moving on to race 9, we've got the Grade 3 Bryan Station on the turf, 8 furlongs for $600,000 for 3-year-olds. For my top pick in here, I'm going to go to the number 6 Brilliant Birdie. This is Cherie DeVoe trained, getting BJ Hernandez up 7-2 on the morning line. When I look at this horse in here, this is a race that I think potentially we have a couple of horses in here that are vying for favoritism honors, and Tricari is a horse, an Oscar Performance Baby that I know is going to take a lot of money, but I'm playing against Tricari in here. So this is one place to where I think we can beat the chalk. The Cherie DeVoe barn, her barn has been really consistent in here at Keeneland. Had a really strong start to the meeting, has cooled off a little bit, but horses are still doing really well in her barn. Gets BJ up. BJ rode this horse to a nice win in the Gun Runner last time out at Kentucky Downs at a mile. We're repeating at the mile here, and this is one that I think when you look at the speed figures here, this one just kind of runs the same race every time, very consistent. Had one last time out, a second before that, one before that, three wins in a row. So has won 4 out of his last 5 races, excuse me. But just kind of runs that 90 speed figure every time. And if you look at these other horses, there are a couple of that have run speed figures near that or at that at some point, but they're not running it consistently. And anything they've run better than that in the past, they're not running that right now. I think Brilliant Birdie is a strong play in here, and I think we can get a little bit of value as a top pick in here, because I think there are going to be horses that are going to take more money than Brilliant Birdie. For my value pick in here, I've got an angle I kind of like here. The number 4, My Boy Prince, in the cocktail lounge on Thursday nights here on Trust the Profits. We play Woodbine. So very familiar with My Boy Prince running up at Woodbine, and that race a couple of races back where he ran in the King's Plate, ran a solid race in there at coming down the lane. Looked like this horse might actually get the win, but Caitlin, Her Greatness, just getting up at the end of that race. And that's a horse who she came back and ran a huge race in the QE2 here at Keeneland. And based off of that and that move to where she came out of the King's Plate win and put in a solid performance in one of the strongest turf races in the country in the QE2 here at Keeneland, I think this horse here, My Boy Prince, comes here in the Bryan Station, which is at a much lower level at the grade 3 here. Coming out of the grade 1 there at Woodbine, the Woodbine Mile, that was a little bit stronger competition than what I think My Boy Prince is going to face in here. Mark Cassey and Jose Ortiz, they do pretty well together, hit at almost 20% overall. I like the way Jose is riding right now. And his getting up on this horse, I just think that this is a horse that is going to probably not take the money, much like Caitlin, Her Greatness in the QE2. Like the horse there, got a piece underneath, and I think this is another one that can do pretty much the same thing. So take a look at My Boy Prince, see what the board is showing, and I think we might get every bit of that 15-1, and I think that it's a very strong play underneath in the Bryan Station. In the final race, race number 10, I think we got the chalk, and the chalk is the chalk. So the chalk is the name of the horse, probably going to be the chalk in this race. Another horse that Jose Ortiz is riding on the day. I don't know what it is about Keeneland, but it seems like Jose in the closeout race does pretty well a lot. And I like him here, and not because of that angle, but it just seems like it seems to happen. And I just think the horse is well placed here. Gelded since his last start, has a really strong work on the 2nd of October, which means maybe that gelding kind of is what the horse needed to wake up a little bit here. That was a really strong bullet, that 59-2, 5 furlong back on the 2nd. Since then has a couple of maintenance works, but regular patterns. So I like to see that here. And this horse is, I'm just going to draw a line through the last one on the turf. But this one's getting back on dirt, stretching out from that initial debut run at 5 furlongs, getting 6 furlongs. I think everything favors this horse. All of those moves looks like a really strong play. And if we get 3-1, I would be surprised. But I think the chalk is a solid top pick here in race 10 in the final race of the fall meet here at Keeneland. But in that race, I still think there's value to be found for that value in this maiden race. I'm going to go to the number 4, Stay Frosty. This is a horse for John Ennis that's getting Edgar Morales up. Edgar Morales has had a couple of really good wins here at Keeneland in the fall meet. Has ridden okay and brought a couple of horses home. This is a first-time starter that is working really well here at Keeneland. has some solid works at the training track before moving over. Has that work on 10 October. Nice bullet 47 and 2/4 furlong work on the track here. I just like the connections here, like the way the horse is working. The dam is 33%. I love the Candy Ride dam sire here. Candy Rides seem to run really well at Keeneland on the dirt, and I'm going to try to get a little bit of a price and play the number 4 Stay Frosty underneath of the number 9 on top. There you have it. Those are my top picks and value plays for the closing day card at Keeneland for the fall meet in 2024. On Sunday, we'll be moving over to Churchill Downs. But here on the channel on Trust the Province, we have so many videos coming out. We've got a lot of top 10 type videos where we're looking at the horses coming up for all the Breeders' Cup races. Many videos that we're trying to go in depth a little bit further. Look at going through and doing full field rundowns. We had a couple of those today, looking at the entire field and trying to break it down race by race for you. Again, as I mentioned, we will be live in the cocktail lounge for the main races on Breeders' Cup Friday and Saturday. So make sure you go down, like and subscribe to the channel so you get those notifications. And we will hope to see you in the cocktail lounge next weekend. But drop a comment. Let me know if you've got any strong picks for Keeneland, any thoughts, anything that I missed that you think I missed, any solid plays that I need to be on the lookout for. I'll be at Churchill on Sunday. If anybody's in the area, try to look me up, say hello. Until then, we will look for that call of at Keeneland in the paddock of Riders Up.